Welcome back to another episode of the Nick Cage Fight podcast, where we review a number of Nick Cage movies, and every once in a while we're gifted with a strange coming-of-age tale where a boy is also a robot, and also commentary on the dysfunctionality of raising kids and stuff, or something. I'm not sure if that is actually the message of this film, but we're going to continue to explore it. I'm one of your hosts, Josh, joined as always by Rich and Ryan. How are we feeling about closing out Astro Boy?
I'm feeling like I have 100,000 horsepower in my feet, which is not mentioned in the movie, but that is 100% one of Astro Boy's powers.
There you go. How about you, Rich?
I'm just going to read my first note, which is Eugene Levy is criminally underrated, just in general.
Absolutely true. Watch some SCTV. He's really good in that.
Watch anything he's in.
SCTV, it's my favorite sketch comedy show.
Really?
Yeah.
That is a glowing endorsement.
It's got some seriously funny shit in it.
It's better than it's
better
than Ways Kid You Know?
It's not better than Kids in the Hall.
That was my second ask where In Living Color fell on that hierarchy.
Slightly lower than SCTV, but higher than definitely higher than Mad TV and Saturday Night Live.
I mean, those are the bottom of the bin.
Yeah, those are the bottom of the bin.
Yes.
Mad Magazine Mad TV is a broken clock that is right like 2 times every 10 years.
Yeah, they had I'm sorry. Some of my favorite shit from Mad TV folks is stuff that they've done outside of it. I'm sorry, Will Sasso's impression of Jesse Ventura is this day one of the best bits of impression comedy I've ever seen or heard. If you haven't seen it, just look up some YouTube videos. He does a good job.
Wait a minute. He was in a movie I just watched, and he was very funny in it, but it kind of didn't age well. It was he played a mentally handicapped person.
Oh
God, what the fuck was that movie called? I gotta figure it out real quick.
That's okay.
Drop Dead Gorgeous.
What was that?
Drop Dead Gorgeous. It plays, dude, I swear to God, it plays like a Christopher Guest movie. It's about a teenage beauty pageant, and it's a mockumentary.
So it's just Frank's Little Darlings motion picture.
Yes. There's somebody slowly killing all of the beauty pageant people, but it's not like a big beauty pageant. It's for a small town in Minnesota. So the stakes are super low.
Awesome.
I kind of got to check this out.
Yeah, that sounds right up my alley.
It's so good. It's Kirsten Dunst, Brittany Murphy.
It's like a mockumentary, or is it more of a narrative?
No. It is a mockumentary. The guy shooting it, like the guy shooting it is actually Thomas Lennon.
Oh, cool.
I have to check this out.
Writer
I love
for
documentaries.
National Treasure. Or no, Night at the Museum. Night at the Museum was Tom Lennon.
I realized I left almost criminally out of housekeeping Alan Tudyk's filmography. He was in Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh, I love that movie.
I can't believe I failed to mention that. If you haven't seen it, comedy horrors are right up my alley, and that is a fantastic one.
I do like a comedy horror.
I have so many recommendations for you right now.
Yeah, so do I. We could just do a whole podcast about that.
We should. Maybe for Patreon content. Where we left off, Toby Bot, for lack of a better name at this point in the film, is brought to life with the blue energy core and recognizes his dad immediately. Dr. Tenma, for his part, takes him home for quality time, for quote, quality time, bonding, all the good things. The next morning, the driver bot, first of all, Toby Bot wakes up to Dr. Tenma like watching him sleep, which startles him briefly. And then driver bot Oren almost blows the cover that Tenma is trying to sort of inflict on Toby, which is not telling him the truth of what happened and make him think he's still a regular kid. In an effort to keep up this ruse, Tenma tells Toby that he won't be going to school any longer. Tenma will be teaching Toby at home from now on, and his only job from here on out is being a dad. Tenma starts TobyBot off with four-dimensional calculus, which TobyBot solves easily and does his own twist and adds some weird programming language to have a dancing robot cowboy guy.
Yeah, which like I always love math in movies because it's always like just one character like drawing like mathematical lines and another character going, yes,
you
good.
forgot about Gordon Wood.
Like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's so good. That's not how I would have done it.
Sorry, I had to go with the Goodwill Hunting reference there because it's easy. It's low hanging fruit, and in my defense, low hanging fruit is the easiest to get to.
Well, yeah, I just think of the It's Always Sunny Goodwill Hunting episode with Charlie when Charlie thinks that he is a genius because he's a janitor.
Well, that's a Flowers for Algernon episode, or is that a different episode?
It's like you're not a genius janitor. You're just a janitor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well you know what? Do you like apples?
How about them apples?
I think he starts making up names of people that he should read.
Yes.
He might have. I just remember him explicitly calling out the Gordon Wood line from the movie and just latching onto that. But anyway, so Dr. Tenma is not thrilled with the sort of levity the cowboy dude brings to 4D calculus. And so he switches to giving TobyBot a bit of classical academic literature, including Kant and Da Vinci's models and so on and so forth to read. Toby starts going through these and he gets preoccupied with Da Vinci's models and builds a number of flying machines out of the pages of these classical books. He's playing with Orin at this point, and he even slaps his former self's ball cap onto Orin's head. Tenma comes in and is disappointed to see that this individual study time has been turned into sort of playtime, and then freaks out on Orin for having Toby's hat on his head. Tenma sends Toby to his room, and at this point in my notes, I have written literally, man, this dude has like just a bunch of issues. I'm not even sure how to start unpacking them.
Oh,
and fantastically enough, in the very next scene, Tenma is kind enough to unpack some of them for us to Elephant via hologram phone call. He's annoyed that the robot isn't a perfect facsimile of Toby and thinks he made a mistake because this is just reminding him that Toby is gone. Genius guy, can't understand normal human emotions. Ridiculous.
So in the original Astro Boy stories, the way this pans out is that Tenma realizes that Astro cannot appreciate human aesthetics. So he shows him some like mechanical drawings, and Astro's all, oh, that's beautiful, man. And he shows him a flower, and he's like fucking stone faced staring at it like, I don't get this. So he sells him to a circus.
See, that's weirder to me because that's not even human aesthetics. It's natural aesthetics.
Natural aesthetics, yeah.
Because, you know, blueprints and shit, that's all made by humans.
Yeah. It's a little weird.
I honestly think it makes a lot of sense to a certain extent. It's just Tenma gets it wrong, right? So humans, not saying that this is my personal belief, but potentially a creation of a higher power appreciates other creations of this potential higher power. Dive a level lower, robots created by humans appreciate creations by humans, don't have any emotional resonance with the layer of creation above that. Kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to derive any specific insight to the original creators. Meaning here, it's just the layers of removal. I always found that to be a fascinating concept in sci-fi specifically. It's been done to death to a certain extent. Even your esteemed host here has done some fiction writing in the past that has dealt with that. But yeah, to me, the progression does make some sort of logical sense, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Tenma is not psyched about his weird coping mechanism for his culpability in his actual son's death. Meanwhile, Toby is in his room and realizes he can understand the window washing robots outside of his room. The robots are shocked as well because humans aren't supposed to understand robot gibberish, apparently, which I thought was an interesting concept that they literally never address again.
It is never brought up again.
In fact, it's
They
explicitly
contradicted a couple of
contradicted.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Explicitly. I did think this was funny, just sort of in general. They didn't need to throw in that humans couldn't understand robots. It doesn't play into any other part of the movie. So call it a minor whiff. But Toby Bot confronts the window washing robots and grabs one to question him, but in the process is pulled out of his window far enough that he falls. And this is essentially a skyscraper that he's living in. And so he
It's a
falls to
Jetsons house.
what was that?
Yeah.
It's a Jetsons house.
Correct. And so Toby Bot is falling to what he believes to be his death. And then his defense mechanisms, primarily his robot rocket feet, automatically activate and save him, which causes him minor shock, followed by elation, followed by minor disaster as he is unable to control this and zooms about the city.
Also, during this scene, this is before they even started bringing this stuff up. I actually wrote in my notes, does the spray bottle break the first rule of robotics here?
By backing up enough to
By spraying him to allow him to fall to assumedly his death.
No, because he is not a human.
He is correct. Yeah.
Okay. Even if it's assumed human, like they just know. Even okay, I got you.
Yeah, it's prime
I mean,
directive.
the rules of robotics are bullshit anyway. They're just something that Isaac Asimov made up that has no bearing on actual robotic laws. Real robotic laws is just some physics shit.
But also kind of phenomenal in the impact it's had on the overall sci-fi genre in general. Without the idea of the laws of robotics, we wouldn't have a number of different properties, which
they're
is
more like the axioms of robotics.
It is. I mean, of course it is. But also, I mean, you don't have the two sides of the coin. The two sides of the coin being
The two genders.
Yeah. Which is the permanently submissive, questioning the morality of a slave class, but they don't got no souls, so you're allowed to film them type of robotics. Also, with the prime directive being sometimes you got to kill a bunch of humans to save a bunch of humans type of morality that we see in shit like iRobot and whatnot.
Or the first two parts of the Animatrix.
Correct. So still shout out to Asimov, rip to a real one, some real solid fictional storytelling there. But in this case, Rich, no, he's a robot. So robots can kill robots. This is an established fact in this universe.
Sometimes
what was that show called on Comedy Central with the robots fighting each other?
Was it Robot Wars?
It was BattleBots.
BattleBots. Yeah.
And I don't think was it on Comedy Central?
I thought it was on Comedy Central. Yeah,
it was on Comedy Central in the late 90s.
Oh, there you go.
I think it was redone.
BattleBots is still fucking going, boys.
Yeah, I don't know what it's on anymore, but I know it exists.
Yeah, I'll tune back in when they have full-size Gundams. And
Yeah,
I'll definitely
suits.
Tune in.
A Gundam is a type of mobile suit.
Correct.
Also, they're not autonomous, so they technically wouldn't count. You have to have a dude inside of a mobile suit.
Well, I think that raises the fucking stakes.
It does raise
I'd watch
the
the shit out of that.
I mean, that is just Stuart Gordon's robot jocks.
There you go. Turn BattleBots into a blood sport, then I'll tune in.
Or like, what was that shitty Hugh Jackman movie where like he would
Real
control
Steel?
Real Steel,
yes,
yeah.
where he would control the robot by fighting.
I'm sorry. That
Oh,
was
no,
my
you're thinking of G Gundam.
No, I'm thinking of Real Steel.
Real Steel was that call out was my knee-jerk reaction to practicing to be on Jeopardy where you didn't finish your question. It was just like buzzing, Real Steel. I'm sorry. What is Real Steel? But you know what else is real? These ads. So listen up. Maybe it's an ad for a fighting robot that you could purchase yourself.
Lap them up, you pig sluts.
Boy, that was an intro to a fucking ad read.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't
I'm
mean
sure
it. You're
our
not a pig
advertisers
slut.
don't listen to the show.
If they're still advertising with us, yeah, they definitely don't.
You think DraftKings care? They don't care.
They
don't give a
Or
shit.
it's not even DraftKings, probably like Chamba Casino.
So Toby Bot is getting the hang of flying around on rocket feet. And he spends some time just sort of dashing back and forth, and even tunnels under and then out of the top of the mountain.
There's some pretty
Metro
good
City.
like visual sight gags in this too. Like the person saying like, "Oh, my steak is undercooked," and he zooms by and cooks it with his super rocket feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
this
is where I noticed too that the
ahead.
soundtrack to this is actually pretty good.
Yeah, the score was solid. I got to agree. It added a decent amount of gravitas.
I'm just happy there was a kids movie that just wasn't pop songs every 45 seconds.
There isn't a single one in this, and it rules.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
God.
great.
Oh wait, no, there's one pop song. There's "We Were Young" by Supergrass.
Oh yeah.
So Toby Bot realizes at least some of his strengths at this point and races back home to show his dad. Meanwhile, we cut to President Stone, who is complaining about his ratings, and the military has taken note of Toby's blue core energy signal and sets about to track it down. When Toby gets back home, we have another one of these moments where it's like, this is too deep and dark for a kid's movie, but they didn't cut it out. Toby Bot arrives home to see Tenma talking to Dr. Elephant, and he's telling Elephant to deactivate Toby Bot and take him away.
Yeah, my note for this was just Nick Cage hates his Mega Man son and wants him dead.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This man is no Dr. Light.
Yeah, it is something else. And Toby Bot actually interrupts this conversation, and Tenma tells Robo Toby what's going on in the most tone deaf, awful way you could possibly imagine. I'm not going to pull specific quotes. If you want to see the worst way to basically tell an adopted child that they are no longer wanted and too much of a reminder of the pain of the parents to continue caring for them, watch this fucking scene, if nothing else. It's horrific. This is one of those take notes and do the opposite if you ever find yourself in a situation like this. It's rough. Dr. Elephant, to his credit, tries to lighten the blow unsuccessfully, and Toby just jets off into the night. The military does find Toby while he's coming to terms with everything and pursues him when Toby Bot tries to flee. Eventually, the ships manage to snag and snare Toby with their weird green gel tow cables, but his core is powerful enough that he is able to pull all of the ships, anchoring him into the gap of a building where they get stuck and he breaks free.
Also, what do these all look like? You know those things you would buy when you were a kid that was like it was like a big hand that you would stick against a wall and throw it at a wall or whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. The rubber sticky hands that you get is like they're like American gashapons, like the little vending machine boys.
Yes.
Well, capsule machines.
Just wait. When we eventually pull the Left Behind series and our Patreon episodes start following all the weird evangelical documentaries that I'm just salivating to make you guys watch, Sticky Hands will come up in at least one of those documentaries.
Oh, I know exactly
Oh,
what you're
yeah.
talking about. And yeah, they do.
Jesus Camp, baby.
Jesus Camp Baby.
I do not know what you're talking about, but I can't wait.
You will.
I could see it in my mind's eye in the place beyond knowing.
I I watch those all the time, and my fiance is like, "Why do you keep doing this? You've seen this 100 times." And I tell her all the time. I just quote the first season of True Detective. I tell myself my duty is to bear witness.
Well, you're actually quoting an unattributed quote of Thomas Ligotti in his philosophy book, The Conspiracy Against the Human Race.
There you go.
Yeah. A lot of unattributed Ligotti in that first season of True Detective, and I don't know if
so
that man
good.
ever got paid.
It was so good.
It was real good.
So yeah, so Toby pulls these multiple ships into the gap of a futuristic series of skyscrapers and breaks free. And then one of the military goons like falls out of the cracked canopy of his ship and starts to plummet to his death. And Toby, of course, being super good and awesome, saves this guy before he hits the ground. The president at this point orders the Spirit of Freedom to be released. And I gotta say right here, the nomenclature for the super battlebot ship being called the Spirit of Freedom is spot on.
It's real good.
I was expecting them to be like called Liberty Prime.
It's exactly that kind of semi self-awareness. It's the kind of cultural critique that most people are not going to key in on, and I think it was incredibly well executed. This was the throwaway joke that felt like it was written for me specifically.
It was a very good joke because as soon as he said the name, I'm like, "This is gonna be a big killer robot."
Yeah, exactly. So a gigantic attack ship appears and fires on Toby. After blasting Toby with all of its weapon reserves, Toby is knocked over the edge of the city and falls to the surface of planet Earth. He wakes up on one of the massive piles in the landfill that Earth around Metro City has become, with dead or dying robots. The implications of all of this is kind of horrifying, but it's a kid's movie. So, of course, Toby Bot quickly finds a robot dog named Trash Can, which is awesome, who lures him into a trap set by surface humans who are scavenging half alive robots to bring back to what we ultimately learn is a robot repairman of some sort.
So two things about this scene. The first thing was, did anybody else think that the first robot he saw was like, is that Earthworm Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't the creator of Earthworm Jim end up being a huge asshole or some shit?
He did, and I'm not letting it ruin Earthworm Jim for me.
That's fair.
Even between that and Tommy Tallarico.
And John Crick-Falusi, whole bunch of assholes in my childhood.
I can't. I'm tired of letting people being assholes ruin elements of nostalgia for me. I have an old school tin lunchbox of Earthworm Jim, and I use it occasionally. My only genuflection to cancel culture is when people mention it, is like, "Oh, Earthworm Jim, that's awesome." I was like, "Yeah, but the creator's an asshole." That's it.
You got to mention it. You can still enjoy the thing.
Correct. Earthworm Jim is cool. The creator, not so cool. You can say that stuff. That is also what I say to everybody who's in my car when Brand New comes up on one of my playlists.
Yeah.
Or when someone looks at my DVD collection and notices Rosemary's Baby and Chinatown are still there, even though Roman Polanski.
Yeah. Did you hear they're doing a prequel apparently to Rosemary's Baby?
No, I'm not going to watch it.
Well, no, of course,
that's
because
like
it ruins the concept of Rosemary's Baby weird, creepy shit happened before the events of that film.
Yeah.
I just wish that like today's media stop like using existing IPs, just make up a story. Make up your own story.
Rich. You're forgetting there's no
People
money, no guaranteed money in treading new ground. Retreading old ground, though, for a generation of people who have no significant buy-in to the American dream, all they have is nostalgia. That is a guaranteed paycheck.
Yeah, but didn't
everyone wants their
Fantastic
gray
Beasts like
slop.
teach us anything?
What was that?
Didn't Fantastic Beasts teach us anything?
Yeah, it taught us that some people like their gray slop, some other people don't like that specific gray slop.
Yeah, but there's gray slop for everybody out there. And that was the worst thing that we informed the establishment of.
Eat it up, piggies. Yum,
Yep.
yum, yum.
I'm sorry. If you didn't know the game was up when KFC put out a sandwich where the bread was fried chicken, you have not been paying fucking attention.
Hey, don't diss the double down. I love the double
The
down.
double down was the start of the end.
I've made my own double downs at home.
Sure, but it was the start of the end. When that succeeded, everybody was like, oh, fuck these people.
So what I'm hearing is that the peak of civilization was a day before KFC introduced the double
No,
down.
it was the first 2 hours after they released the double down. It's been downhill from that. It's
Okay.
been double downhill from that.
Double downhill from that. Put it on the board. I like that one. So Trash Can lures Toby Bot into a trap from the Scrappers, but his robot form is deceptive enough that the kids think he is a real boy. I like the sort of allusions or cribbing from the Pinocchio bit, kind of in reverse. A fake boy mistaken for a real boy bit here. I don't know if any of that was necessarily intentional. I just like the juxtaposition with some classic fairy tale shit personally. The kids introduce themselves, and then shortly thereafter, Toby is snatched up by members of the RRF, otherwise known as the Robot Revolutionary Front. This is, we mentioned some of the communist leanings of the source material, and I poked some fun at Ryan asking, what do you really think they're going to do with these communist undertones in this story for a film adapted for an American audience? And this is our answer to that. The American take on communist undertones in a story is communists are a bunch of ineffectual idiots.
That and also not a
bumbling
bunch.
Goons.
It's three.
It's three of them, yes.
It's three of them. And they are comic relief throughout the course of this film.
No, and if it was an actual critique on American communism, there would be 27 groups, all with 4 people that were also fighting with themselves.
Correct. Thank you, Rich, for describing the current state of American leftism in general.
Yeah. There would be the Robot Revolution Front, the Robot Liberation Front, the circuit,
it's
circuit
the bit from Life
anarchy.
of Brian.
Yes,
it's
correct.
The People's Front of Judea, Judea's People Front.
Yeah. So,
however, they did have Trotskyist propaganda in the background, which I found interesting.
Sick.
So this point is hammered home in kind of a ham-fisted way when the robots explain they want to free all robots. They're disappointed to learn that Robo Toby doesn't want to hurt anyone, as they're trying to find a way to bypass the laws of robotics. And they reveal that their current target is apparently a seemingly innocuous robot repairman on the surface named Hamegg. Due to the laws of robotics, their plan extends only to tickling him with a feather. And they have taken steps to purchase this feather. So in real world terms, they're probably buying that feather from the FBI, who is going to arrest them as soon as they conclude that purchase. Cora is the leader of this band of scrappers, at least to a certain extent, as we see them, at this point in the film, and they bust into the RRF and save Toby. Toby gets out with his real boy cover intact by whispering to one of the members of the Robot Revolutionary Front that he is a deep cover robot infiltrating the human element on the surface. He does take the name that the RRF gave him and introduces himself as Astro. Back in Metro City, Dr. Elephant is getting arrested for his part in the creation of Astro Boy. Tenma apologizes to the president for creating Astro Boy and ensures the president, when they find the robot and deactivate it, he'll retrieve the core and turn it over to the president. Elephant gets unarrested at this point because all of this is just a satirical take on a fascist militarized government, and we don't want to get too deep in a kid's film. The Scrapper kids take Astro to Ham Eggs. This is the robot repair shop guy. It's filled with a bunch of what I can only describe as feral gremlin children. Grace being the funniest one. Cora hands over a chainsaw that she found in their scavenging attempts, and Grace runs off after activating the chainsaw. It's pretty funny.
So here's another name change. So Ham Egg is actually the original Japanese name, which I was surprised to find. His original American dub name was Cacciatore, like, the chicken ditch.
They changed a name consisting of two American named foodstuffs
to Cacciatore, yeah.
That's
bizarre.
It is. It is weird.
Love it. English dubbers in the 1960s.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Be baffled by it, obviously.
Clearly. So Ham Egg was also apparently in Metro City at one point. He exclaims that he was kicked out because he loved robots, and Metro City doesn't care about robots.
When he was talking about that, I thought he meant it in a very different way.
That would have justified an exiling.
Yeah.
It's the robot chicken bit. It's like, we have a brand new robot to introduce, and a hand goes up in the crowd, and he's like, yes. He's like, can you fuck it? He's like, I'm sorry, what? Can you fuck it? Yeah, Ham Egg explains that he repairs robots because he loves them, and that's why he fixes them. Astro learns that all the kids at Ham Eggs are orphans of some sort, and that night Ham Egg tucks Astro in for the evening, at which point Trash Can continues his harassment of Astro to tell the other kids that he's a robot. Astro says he will, just not right now. Later on, the kids talk to Astro about the robot games, which you just know as a viewer is some gladiatory fights to the death. But Astro is sweet, naive, just perfect little robot boy, so he doesn't get this.
Well, he also describes it as like Roman too. So I think that was the key word.
They do. So while they go out scavenging, Astro finds an old construction bot and powers the core of it back up with some of his pure blue energy.
Also, in the speech that Ham Egg is giving, I don't think he means it like this, but apparently, so according to Ham Egg, the Saints want to fight poor people. He's giving a speech about like the robot games, and he's saying it's like this and like this, and it's like Saints and poor people. And we find out later on that they're fighting. So Saints want to fight poor people, by the way, according to Ham Egg.
There you go.
It's canon. It's canon in this universe.
It is. So Astro's out in the field with the kids. He powers up a construction bot. And then we cut back to Ham Egg, who is training one of his robot fighters. Very Real Steel-esque. Rich, thank you for that wonderful reference earlier.
What I thought there was going to be like a Birdcage callback. Have you seen Birdcage?
It has been some time, but yes, I have seen it.
Do you remember when Robin Williams is trying to get Nathan Lane to act like a straight man, and he's like kind of training him on, and he's being very aggressive?
Yes.
I thought that scene was going to be kind of a callback to that.
Yeah, I get that. I do get that inclination there.
Like make a New York Jets reference or something. Okay, sorry, I'll stop.
No.
I mean, they make a reference to New Jersey at some point.
They make a reference to New Jersey.
Which is weird because it's clearly set above Japan. When something happens, you can very clearly see Mount Fuji at some point.
Not super weird. Did you know that New Jersey is one of the top referenced locations in the United States as far as references in Hollywood productions?
Oh, I was not aware of that.
You get New
I'm
York,
unsurprised.
you get California, but New Jersey is very close behind these. In fact,
Surprised it's
one of
not
my
Texas.
what was that?
Surprised it's not Texas.
I'm sure
I mean,
Texas is right behind it because you
yeah,
have
Yeah.
Cowboys
Texas
there.
shows up a lot, but I think it has to do with history. One of my favorite bits of trivia is the fact that old school Looney Tunes cartoons referenced explicitly the birthplace of my own father, Perth Amboy, more
Yes, I
than
do
once.
remember them mentioning Perth Amboy a couple of times.
Yep. So yeah, New Jersey gets referenced fucking a lot.
Well, I mean, think of like
I mean,
just all the dickheadness that's going on in Jersey.
I can hear Bunny say Hoboken in my mind's eye. I can
Yeah.
hear it clear as day.
Bugs Bunny is the one who references Perth Amboy as well, at least one of the times.
It's because he's a cultured man.
Yes, absolutely. So Hamegg is training one of his fighting robots, and then it gets stomped out of nowhere by this powered up construction bot ridden by the kids and Astro. The kids set about cleaning the construction bot. They power wash him and paint a bunch of sigils on him and take a picture in front of him with Hamegg. This is also where we learn that the construction bot's name, or his given name by the kids, is Zog. And then later that evening, Astro stumbles on Cora trying to make a phone call with one of the phones she found in the junkyard. It's not working, and Astro discreetly charges it up with some more of his blue energy and gives it back to Cora. The call doesn't go through, but Cora admits that she was from Metro City originally as well. Astro bails on a perfect opportunity to tell Cora the fact that he is a robot.
That's kind of
then-
fair, though. There seems to be a lot of robot racism going on.
Row races.
Row racism.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And it gets worse from here. So the next day, there is a parade through the center of the city along with Zog, and Cora explains to Astro what the robot games are, which is fights to the death between robots that people have repaired. And Astro is understandably a bit horrified. When confronted with the particulars of the robot games, Hamegg explains that robots don't have emotions and they're just junk waiting to happen. We're allowed to film them. They ain't got no souls. Sorry, I know we do a lot of I think you should leave references, but I'm going to continue to make them.
I mean, at least one per episode. You got
Yeah,
it.
sure. Much like Sopranos references. We'll find a way to show.
You should be able, listen, you should be able to put in a little bit of, I think you should leave references in every episode.
You should. You absolutely should. So,
Did we do a second ad break?
Oh yeah, no, this is a good time for it. So, yeah, listen to these ad breaks, you jabroni.
We got to bring that back. We got to bring back calling people jabronis.
Yeah, we do. And jamokes. I like jamoke, but you don't hear that one anymore.
That's a good one. I'm gonna start doing that in a professional setting. If it's not explicitly a slur or a cuss word, when you throw in a weird derogatory term in a professional setting, people just think you're smart and eccentric. Yeah. If you don't believe me, try it. I guarantee you it'll work out.
I'm gonna start calling one of the chefs at my job a jamoke. See if he gets offended.
I'm gonna call the first customer I talk to tomorrow a jabroni and just see what happens.
I mean, you're gonna get German suplexed. That's what happens when you call someone a jabroni.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't count unless they hold on to it and do it at least 3 times. It's called getting. It's the original getting Benoit before that took a dark turn.
Oh, that took such a dark turn.
Yes, it did. Keep us posted on how that plays out because I want to hear the end of that story.
Listen, if they spend like 10 grand, I'm gonna be calling everybody a jabroni.
There you go. So while Astro confronts Hamegg about this, and then Hamegg pulls out what I can only describe as a robot stun gun and zaps Astro, incapacitating him and explaining to the kids that he's a robot.
And how when he Astro figures this out too, he had like this energy thing that like measured energy. So he put it next to the big robot that Astro brought back to life and accidentally waved it towards Astro, and the thing went off the fucking charts.
Yeah, it's like a robot Geiger counter.
Yeah.
Astro is debilitated by this, and when he wakes up, Hamegg is introducing him as Astro Boy to the crowd in this robot fight coliseum. A robot with buzzsaw hands comes out and starts attacking Astro. Astro tries to refuse to fight and fly away, but the arena is surrounded by some sort of zappy field, and Astro is zapped and knocked down. However, he grabs the saw blade robot and lifts it into the air, placing its head against this zappy barrier, which blows up the robot's head.
My note on this is Astro Boy saying, "I'm not fighting," and then proceeds to decapitate a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say,
well, he doesn't want to fight Zog.
This is the same bit with like the Chris Nolan Batmans, where he's like, I don't kill people, and then he rams the Batmobile into that garbage truck, which causes the cab to crumple against the roof of that tunnel, clearly killing the person inside of it.
100%.
No, it's video game rules. If it doesn't happen in a cutscene, that's not actually death.
It's that dude is so fucking dead. He's so fucking dead.
But did he explode like a 1992 arcade cabinet? Like, you know how all like when you play Teenage Ninja Turtles or like The Simpsons, the characters explode for some reason, like they're robots. If they didn't explode, they're not dead.
Speaking of, we got to do a podcast trip to the local mall, which I won't name.
That arcade rules.
Yeah, it does. We went.
Yeah,
it has Simpsons. It has the old X-Men games.
They got the Addams Family
Turtles, pinball for days.
Gauntlet. Ooh,
guys, next time.
Wait, Josh, were you in our failed Gauntlet?
I'm gonna take us. I'm gonna pay for our hour passes. We're gonna have a good time.
Hell yeah.
Were you in on our failed Gauntlet runs?
Me personally?
Yes.
No, I haven't, but I want to.
You can't beat the arcade game. It's not possible. Even with like unlimited credits.
Correct.
There's like some RNG shit. You cannot beat it.
Because we had unlimited credits and we eventually just threw our hands up and said, fuck this.
You have to like there's like 99 fucking floors. You have to get specific parts of a password that you have to enter at the end to kill the wizard. It's not doable. Bullshit.
I'm gonna take that challenge. We're gonna figure it out. I don't care how many hours.
4 fucking hours last time I was there with a buddy of mine trying to beat that game, and we could not.
2 people on a 4-person game. We're gonna get a 4th, and we're gonna make this happen.
Fair.
So, next up is a cute little bot with a baby voice that transforms into 2 bots, one with chain guns, the other one with mace arms. Astro tricks it into damaging itself. He gets the mace arm robot to smash the chain gun robot, and then picks up the chain gun robot and shoots the mace robot to death, basically. Next up, like a fucking army of battle bots are released to rush the arena. The robot revolutionary force crew shows up to try and help, but they've only brought their feather that they succeeded in purchasing. Astro Boy single-handedly dismantles all the battle bots. The fighting catches the sensors of the president and his men on Metro City. And the next opponent that is revealed is Zog, the construction bot that was resurrected by Astro.
Yeah, this was after Astro Boy committed robot genocide.
Yes. Astro refuses to fight again. Zog does as well and just ruffles Astro's hair and picks him up. Hamegg zaps them both, demanding that they fight. This is where we get the New Jersey reference. Zog is from New Jersey, apparently. Hell yeah. I'm down for that. Zog turns on Hamegg, who, when confronted with the laws of robotics, Zog responds that he is old school and goes to stomp out Hamegg. Astro saves him by catching Zog's foot, but then the president and his men show up and capture Astro Boy. He apologizes to Cora as he's being led away, and Trash Can even jumps in to try and stop the soldiers. So Astro is taken back to Elephant and Tenma, with the president demanding that the core be removed and replaced into the Peacekeeper. Elephant tries to talk to Astro, and Astro explains that maybe this is his destiny and doesn't resist. Tenma removes the core from Astro and apologizes. Astro, in return, apologizes for not being a better Toby for him before powering down. And goddamn, this is incredibly depressing and too deep for a kids' movie.
Two deaths. The same
Heart-wrenching.
character dies twice.
Just apologizing for not being better. My God. Just infinitely depressing. Please don't dwell on it. I had to remind myself not to dwell on it because it's a kids' movie.
So here's a major divergence from the original Astro Boy. Tenma and Astro never reconcile in any other version of this. In fact, Dr. Elephant ends up adopting Astro, taking him away from the circus run by Hamegg, and then Elephant builds fucking robot parents for Astro.
That is incredibly sad.
Yeah.
So Tenma removes the core and turns it over to the president. However, Tenma has an almost immediate change of heart, and thanks to some sleight of hand from Elephant, hidden talents, right? For a scientist, retrieves the core, and both Tenma and Elephant tell the president that they will have to kill them if he wants the core. Tenma drops the blast shield and replaces the blue core in Astro. And at this point, Tenma accepts Astro as his son and tells him to fly away. Astro blasts out of the ministry, leaving behind Tenma and Elephant. The president demands that the scientist be arrested and says he's going to use the Peacekeeper to retrieve the blue core and places the red core back into the Peacekeeper. The Peacekeeper robot immediately absorbs President Stone and starts going wild. It smashes outside of the building to a press conference that was waiting for President Stone and subsequently scares off all the reporters. So at this point, President Stone's persona has been absorbed into the Peacekeeper and is being portrayed, right? So Astro, after flying off, sees explosions happening back in Metro City and flies back to help. He has run into Mr. Squirt and Mr. Squeegee at this point, who follow him back. According to the laws of
robotics.
I keep doing that's the second time I've
noticed. That's why I had to shout it out.
I don't know what's going on.
Lobotics is when you remove a part of your brain and put in a part of a robot brain.
There you go. Maybe that's what happened.
Lobot.
So Mr. Square and Mr. Squeegee attempt to follow him. The Peacekeeper has absorbed all of the military hardware that is sent to stop him at this point, including this Spirit of Freedom battleship that blasted Astro off Metro City in the first place. Astro shows up to fight him, and he discovers he has arm cannons, which is fucking dope. Back on the surface, Hamegg is trying to skip town, and Cora and the Scavenger kids carjack him, basically, with the help of Zog. Zog peels off the roof of the car and plucks out Hamegg, and the kids set off to try and help Astro. So President Peacekeeper, who from here on out I'm going to refer to as PPK, continues to fight Astro Boy and absorb parts of the city, including full-on skyscrapers at this point. A skyscraper he doesn't absorb, he uses as basically a baseball bat to hit Astro Boy with. Astro Boy apparently has butt cannons. I wrote that note, and then the line in the film is verbatim. I got machine guns in my butt.
Yeah, my only note on this was just simply butt guns.
Yeah, that's canon.
Also, just to reference a meme, machine guns in your butt, more common than you'd think. President Peacekeeper, after the butt cannons, hits him with the skyscraper. Cora and the kids rescue him with the hover car right before he gets stomped by PPK after the baseball hit. They narrowly avoid repeated attacks until PPK runs directly into Metro City's generator. This, of course, causes Metro City to start to fall from the sky and crash into the ground. Astro Boy, unwilling to let all of the denizens of Metro City suffer a gruesome fate, uses his rocket boots and robot strength to slow the descent of Metro City before seemingly getting crushed by the city crashing into the ground. The Robot Revolutionary Front shows up again to confront PPK, but quickly run away. They don't do anything at all. So again, once more, Ryan's concern about their portrayal of communist undertones is that communists are idiots and ineffectual. Thanks,
Correct.
American media.
Yep, that's about what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the reason why I thought it might have communist undertones, even though the manga did not necessarily, is because Osamu Tezuka was a card-carrying member of the Japanese Communist Party.
There you go. So that's them pulling, not pulling, directing punches directly at the source materials creator. So Astro Boy blasts out of the ground at this point and continues his fight. PPK absorbs Astro Boy into his chest, but the proximity of the blue and red energy cores causes Astro to get blasted out of the chest cavity and into the city. Tenma catches up with Astro at this point on the floor of the tower that he's been knocked into and explains that if the two cores collide, Astro and PPK will both die and that Astro needs to run away. At this point, PPK has captured the hover car and is interrogating the kids as to where Astro Boy is. Astro sees this and realizes that this is his destiny, not that previous destiny that he thought it was. So, despite the protests of Dr. Tenma, he flies directly into PPK's core. PPK drops the car with the kids who flee to safety before he explodes completely. Tenma, of course, falls to his knees in grief upon seeing the energy shower, indicating the destruction of PPK and also, assumably, Astro Boy himself.
My first thought in this was, did Astro Boy just assassinate the president?
Yes.
The second Astro
sort of.
Boy has hit the Metro City.
Because at this point, we see that corporeal President Stone has survived the explosion and melding with PPK. However, he is immediately arrested, which is the most fantastical part of this storyline.
I feel like this storyline really hit America in 2019, like really hard.
Yeah, and nobody watched it or internalized any of this.
No.
Much to our detriment. So Cora finds Astro, his arm detached, and he is completely inert. Elephant explains to Cora he can't save him because his core energy was unique. But Zog shows up, and Elephant learns that he was reanimated using the blue energy core, and Elephant asks if he can spare some of the blue energy Astro used to restore him.
And this is the moment I realized that Zog was actually voiced by Samuel L. Jackson, which I didn't know to begin with.
I didn't catch it either, but I should have, because Samuel L. Jackson only has one voice. Voice acting, live acting, it's the same voice.
I mean, he uses it well.
Absolutely. So Zog zaps Astro's chest with the blue energy, and Astro wakes up after just enough of a dramatic pause. Tenma embraces Astro Boy, and at this point, I was like, oh, this is a kid's movie, because I kind of expected Zog to need to expend all of his blue energy to revivify Astro Boy and sacrifice himself, but Zog's just fine.
No, it's like jumping a car. You just got to get that initial charge.
Clearly. So these robots have alternators.
Yes.
That's canon.
Hopefully they have catalytic converters too, so we can steal them.
There you go. So it looks like everybody from Metro City and the kids from the surface all accept Astro Boy now as a hero. Cora, who we learned was originally from Metro City, but we don't get any explanation.
There was no context at all.
At all.
No.
Cora's parents spot her and run and embrace her, saying they were looking for her.
It's like 15 pages of the script that they probably cut out. I want to know. Also, those kids did not exist in any of the previous versions of Astro Boy, just for reference.
So the RRF show up again, but don't do anything again. Again, the joke is communists are dumb and useless. And Tenma seems to be embracing his new outlook. He gives Oren the day off, who has a bit of an existential crisis himself. And then this might be my favorite part of the film, despite all of the weird oddities and fun bits that I enjoyed up until now. Literally right now in the story, as we're telling it, a fucking one-eyed tentacled alien shows up to attack
A
Earth.
motherfucking kaiju.
I
Yeah.
don't know why I like that design so much, but there's something very simple and perfect about it.
And also, it's been used as recently as fucking Marvel's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. A single-eyed tentacle alien is a trope. It happens.
It's a trope I like.
Yeah, there you go.
Use it more.
But I love that it
fucking
happens
ER.
like right here. And Astro Boy's like, I gotta go save the world again. And Tenma's like, are you sure? And he's like, this is what I was made for. And he flies at the alien, and we get the alien's POV. And Astro Boy swings his fist at the camera, and boom, credits roll. It was a lot of fun.
I liked
this
this
was a
one,
fun
yeah.
movie.
Yeah, this was a good movie. I put it here. This should have been a franchise, like a mid-tier one, like a Minions.
I would have much preferred this
over Minions, yeah.
That.
Like you could have made Astro Boy merchandise like the Minions do.
I mean, it's existed for like 60 years now in terms of merchandising. It's just America isn't that like it's not that appealing to us. It's appealing to like boomers for some inexplicable reason.
Listen, grew up with boomers make no fucking sense. Like
none.
Boomers grew up watching the Jetsons and think that the current world we live in is totally fine and normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I wanna add my personal context here. I was never super into Astro Boy, but I've always suffered pretty severely from insomnia. And in my college years, this meant being awake well past normal broadcast hours. And I think it was Adult Swim.
Oh, are you about to talk about Tetsujin 28, aka Gigantor?
I am about to talk about Gigantor, the space age robot. So I ended up watching a bunch of Gigantor back in the day. And so when
Gigantor.
Astro Boy came up, I was like, oh, I feel like I'm going to like this, but I have, due to horrific insomnia, a real soft spot for Gigantor. But I think Astro Boy embraces some of the same storytelling elements, and I did really enjoy this. It was entertaining, and they left in enough, like inexplicably left in enough adult content where you're like, God damn, this kids movie is making me think about some relatively uncomfortable things as an adult viewer that I know kids are thankfully bypassing. It's a shame it wasn't more popular, but highly entertaining. If you're like me and suffer from insomnia and you need some sort of generic background noise to help you drift off to sleep, a good choice for those are animated, not super loud or having weird spiky audio issues. Kids movies, I highly recommend adding Astro Boy to the rotation. Watch it while you're awake. Watch it while you're trying to fall asleep. This is a good one. Generally benign, with enough complex questions raised to keep you interested if you're actually forced to appear attentive to the storyline that's occurring. And those hooks are not delivered in the form of jokes that kids wouldn't get, but adults would. It's delivered in the form of existential questions driven by the core narrative, which I find refreshing.
It was good. I liked it.
It was good.
It was just it was good. It was a movie that you can enjoy with your child if you have chosen to go down that life path.
Yes, I did enjoy it with my child, aka my cat.
There you go.
He didn't like it, but I did.
This was entertaining. I liked it. Definitely top tier of the quote unquote children's movies that we've watched so far for this podcast. I think that puts a fucking bow on it, personally. Rich.
Yeah, this definitely is in the upper half of the movies we have watched.
Yeah. Definitely. Top of the barrel for the kids' movies.
Yeah. By like a fucking mile.
Yeah.
Rich, tell us what fate has in store for us.
Well, we already talked about
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
Because we're coming up on episode 100, baby. And you know what episode 100 means? We're going to watch a trilogy movie.
Yes, we are. I know you mentioned it, and of course, I am super psyched for Face Off. But for our first time listeners, you have tuned in at a very special time. If
for a most auspicious moment.
It is. If you're not familiar with our previous work, if you know nothing of our work, let me explain to you now. In our opinion, one that I have brought my co-host over to my line of thinking, there is a trinity of sequentially released Nicolas Cage movies that I believe captured the essence of the man and his career. We refer to this as the Holy Trinity, the Triforce, the Triumvirate, all of those fun names for
the
three
trifecta.
Things. Exactly. And we are covering our first one in the history of this podcast in the form of Face Off, which is a solid opening choice of the three impossible to put in a box films from Nick Cage. Face Off, starring directly across from John Travolta as each other. Goddamn. I'm predicting a 3-episode run for this film. We will see how that goes. God help you all if you want to listen to 3 hours of us talking about a single film. But if we could do it for any of them, Face Off is definitely one that I would easily put money on.
To say nothing of the directing by John Woo, one of my heroes.
Yeah, and this is probably the peak of like the peak of what I will call like the second age of Cage. With the first being like Moonstruck, Raising Arizona, like that's the first age. This is the second age that probably starts with Leaving Las Vegas.
Yes.
And which we still haven't done.
Which we still have not done. And ends with probably The Family Man.
Okay.
That sounds about right.
Or maybe is Family Man or Matchstick Men? Which one came out first?
Family Man, but Matchstick Man would be what I would consider the start of the third, which is Matchstick Man, like National Treasure, Lord of War, Weatherman, Wicker Man, Ghost Rider.
Mm-hmm.
Does Age of Cage count as alliteration, or is that just a rhyming scheme?
That's just a rhyming scheme.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate it either way.
I like it. We should get t-shirts made.
We should.
Yeah. And then I do believe that we are in the middle of the fourth Age of Cage.
We are. The resurgence is real, right?
Right. And that started with probably Pig.
Jiu-Jitsu?
No, not Jiu-Jitsu. I think it started with Pig.
No, like Mandy came out before Pig. And I think Mandy was really more of the beginning of the resurgence of Cage.
But okay, but here's the thing is that you have Mandy in 2018, but then you have the Humanity Bureau, 211.
Which I liked. I did not like.
Oh, but you know what? But then you get Between Worlds. You do have Color Out of Space in there. You have Kill Chain in there.
Yeah, Kill Chain in there.
But you also have Jiu-Jitsu and Prisoners of the Ghostland, which is why like I'm thinking that the true Age of Cage probably started with Pig, because you have Pig, the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, The Old Way, which while wasn't that good, was kind of a hyped up movie. Renfield, which was very hyped up. Now, you have The Flash.
I don't know. I think you have to go with Mandy for the fourth age.
Or
for
Mom and Dad, maybe even. Mom and Dad's only like 3 movies prior to Mandy.
No, Mom and Dad is the movie right before Mandy, actually, believe it or not.
I'm showing that Humanity Bureau was right before Mandy.
Humanity Bureau and Dark.
Well, Dark's the recut of Dying in the Light.
I'm seeing Mom and Dad, then Mandy, then Looking Glass, then Humanity Bureau.
Humanity Bureau came out before Looking Glass and Mandy.
Oh, well then Wikipedia is wrong, and I apologize.
Oh yeah, that's why I always go by IMDb. They go by actual release date.
But no, I do think Mandy is probably the start of the fourth age, because you've got Mandy, Between Worlds, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which definitely hit
Yeah.
the broader sphere. Color Out of Space, Kill Chain. Then you, of course, have Jujitsu. Prisoners of the Ghostland actually exists in the Fourth Age of Cage if we're setting this timeline appropriately. And then Pig really cements it. You got Pig, Unbearable Weight, Old Way, Renfield, and then of course the Flash credit.
Yeah. I think we might be winding
motion.
I think we might be winding down the Fourth Age, but you never know because he just releases so many goddamn movies. One of these could be a fucking killer.
I don't know, man. Sympathy for the Devil looks fucking sick. I can't wait for that.
I was going to say Sympathy for the Devil just from a quick look.
Lords of War. We've got a Lord of War fucking
Lords of War.
Him and Joel Kinnaman together is going to be real good.
I'm a fucking fan of Joel Kinnaman.
I am too.
No, I think we might be in the middle of the Fourth Age. It's
okay.
Until this current.
I like that we're putting this into Lord of the Rings history fucking phrasing.
Yeah,
yes, we are.
Until this wave crests, and I don't think you can say it has crested yet. Despite the fact that the Old Way is in there, you have Unbearable Weight, you have Renfield, the Flash, regardless of its box office performance, there is still some coattail riding. This thing has not crashed into the surf
right
yet.
You have sympathy for the Devil, which we all think is going to look good. I think the Retirement Plan looks like it's going to be moderately funny. It has a good cast. What else do we have coming up? Dream Scenario, Nicolas Cage, Michael Cera, and Tim Meadows. Okay. Arcadian.
You have my attention.
Yes.
Arcadian doesn't really have anything in it. It is an action horror film. And then Long Legs is an American horror, which is about a cold serial killer.
Is his name Daddy?
No, it's about a serial killer.
I think we've made that joke before, actually, when we're looking at the IMDb.
Yeah, no, I think it's very arguable that we are in the process. Oh my God. Unfortunately for Long Legs, I'm familiar with some of the writer's credits here. And I'm not going to hold my breath on that too much. That being said, I think the argument for the ages is that we are still in the middle of the Fourth Age, and where it crashes into the ground with the force of a meteor is yet to be determined, because we've had some interesting things and it looks like there's some still interesting things in the chamber. I'm excited. And what a way to celebrate our current position in the Nick Cage timeline, but by paying proper homage to one of, again, the Holy Trinity films as we see them personally. Agree, disagree, either way, let us know on social media. You can find us on Twitter at cagefight_pod. Rich, what's that Patreon again?
Patreon.com/Nick Cage Fight. $3 a month gets you every episode without ads. And it scales up from there. $5 a month gets you Patreon content, which, like, okay, honest talk time. We've been real lazy about this, and we just had a conversation before recording this episode that we are going to record some Patreon content within the next 2 weeks. Ryan brought something up that we think would be really fun, which would be watching some old Astro Boy cartoons
on hallucinogens.
I mean, that goes without saying.
I'm going to take so much Benadryl, I see the Hat Man.
I can't wait to take ketamine and watch this. I do think we're going to watch The Wrestler within the next 2 weeks as well. I'm sick of having that joke.
I've had that one sitting on my shelf for like a month now. I bought it at the Good William.
Definitely coming soon.
Except for it actually is coming soon now.
This time we're
serious. All those other times was a joke at your expense.
This is a joke.
But this time, it's personal.
So, tune in. More good stuff coming, especially if you love Nicolas Cage. even a fraction as much as we do, thank you, as always, for tuning in. And please remember, listeners, we appreciate you.
Bye bye.